Hey, English learners. Welcome back to the EPHQ podcast, your English podcast for daily life English, real conversations, and easy English listening practice.
Yeah, this is the place where you learn English through real life, not boring textbooks.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Emma. And today, Alex, I need to tell you something exciting. This morning, I was thinking about what makes certain people stand out in any room they walk into.
Oh, you mean like charisma? That magnetic personality thing?
Not exactly charisma, but you're close. It's something deeper, something that stays with you even when you're alone, even when nobody's watching.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Something that works even when you're alone? Is it confidence?
Confidence is definitely connected to it, but this thing actually creates confidence. It's like the root, and confidence is the flower.
The root and the flower. I like that metaphor. So, listeners, what do you think? What could be the root that grows confidence?
While you're thinking about that, let's do our quick reminder. If you're enjoying this calm, natural conversation in English, don't forget to hit subscribe and become part of our EPHQ community.
And tap that like button if you want us to keep making these real-life English episodes for you.
And remember, it's completely normal if you don't catch every single word right now.
Exactly. Just listen, relax, and let your brain absorb the English naturally. Learning happens best when you're comfortable, not stressed. All right, Emma, I can't take the suspense anymore. What's this powerful thing you're talking about?
Today's topic is self-respect.
Self-respect.
Yes, the ability to value yourself, set boundaries, and honor your own worth regardless of what others think or say.
Wow, that really is powerful. And I can already tell this is going to be a deep conversation.
Today, we're going to explore what self-respect truly means in everyday situations, why so many people struggle with it, and how you can cultivate it through practical daily actions.
So you'll be learning advanced English vocabulary while also discovering how to build a stronger relationship with yourself.
Let's begin with the foundation. What does self-respect actually look like in real life?
Emma, when I hear the phrase self-respect, I immediately picture someone who can say no without feeling guilty, someone who doesn't compromise their values just to please others.
That's such a good image. For me, self-respect shows up in the quiet moments. It's the person who keeps their commitments to themselves, even the small ones nobody else knows about.
Like when you tell yourself you'll take a break from social media for the evening and you actually do it, even though nobody would know if you didn't.
Exactly. Self-respect is honoring the promises you make to yourself, treating your own needs and boundaries as seriously as you would treat someone else's.
I think self-respect also means accepting yourself as you are right now, not only when you achieve something or become perfect.
Yes, unconditional self-acceptance. That's huge. And listeners, you can pause for a moment and think about this. Self-respect for me means, and complete that sentence in your own mind.
It doesn't need to be a perfect definition, just whatever feels true for you in simple, honest English.
And if you're feeling confident, you can write your thoughts in the comments below. It's excellent practice for expressing abstract ideas in English.
So, Emma, here's something I've wondered about. What's the difference between self-respect and self-esteem? People often use those terms interchangeably.
That's such an important distinction. Self-esteem is more about how you feel about yourself, your emotional evaluation of your worth. It can fluctuate based on your achievements, how others treat you, or your current mood.
So, self-esteem goes up when you succeed at something and might drop when you fail or face criticism.
Exactly, but self-respect is more stable. It's a decision, a commitment to treat yourself with dignity no matter what happens externally.
So someone could have low self-esteem on a particular day because they made mistakes, but they can still maintain self-respect by not speaking cruelly to themselves about those mistakes.
Perfect example. Self-respect is like the foundation of a house. Self-esteem is more like the weather around that house. The weather changes, but the foundation remains solid.
I love that analogy, and I think many listeners can relate to that feeling of having shaky self-esteem but wanting something more reliable underneath.
Self-respect gives you that reliability. It's the voice that says, I deserve kindness. I deserve honesty. I deserve to take up space in this world.
Now, here's the tough question. If self-respect is so valuable, why do so many people struggle with it?
There are several reasons, and I think one of the biggest is conditioning. Many of us were raised to prioritize other people's comfort over our own needs.
Oh, absolutely, especially for people who were taught that being agreeable and accommodating is the same as being good or worthy.
Right, so when you start setting boundaries or saying no, it feels wrong, even selfish, because it goes against years of programming.
And then there's the fear of rejection. People worry that if they respect themselves too much, others will think they're arrogant or difficult.
Yes, and that fear is real, because sometimes people do react negatively when you start valuing yourself more. Not everyone appreciates it when you stop being a people pleaser.
But here's what I've learned. The people who react badly to your boundaries are usually the ones who benefited from you not having any.
That's profound and true. Real friends and healthy relationships actually improve when you have self-respect, because the relationship becomes more honest and balanced.
Another reason people struggle is comparison. We live in an age of constant social comparison, especially with social media showing us everyone's highlight reels.
When you're constantly measuring yourself against others, it's incredibly hard to maintain self-respect because there will always be someone who seems better, smarter, more successful, or more attractive.
And your self-respect starts depending on how you rank compared to others, instead of being rooted in your inherent worth as a person.
Exactly. Self-respect requires you to step out of that comparison game entirely and recognize that your value isn't relative, it's absolute.
So, if lack of self-respect comes from conditioning, fear, and comparison, how do we actually build it in daily life?
Let's talk about concrete, practical steps, things you can start implementing today.
First principle, listen to your inner voice with compassion.
Many people have an incredibly harsh inner critic, that voice that says, you're not good enough, you're stupid, you're a failure.
And we would never tolerate someone else speaking to us that way, but we let that voice dominate our internal dialogue.
Self-respect means becoming aware of that critical voice and choosing not to give it absolute authority. You can acknowledge the thought without believing it's the ultimate truth.
For example, instead of automatically accepting the thought, I'm such an idiot for making that mistake, you might pause and say, I made a mistake, and that's human. I can learn from this.
That shift from harsh judgment to compassionate observation is essential for self-respect.
And listeners, you can practice this today. When you notice a critical thought about yourself, pause and ask, would I say this to a friend I care about? If not, try rephrasing it with more kindness.
Second principle, protect your energy by setting boundaries.
Boundaries are not walls. They're not about keeping people out or being cold. They're about knowing what you need to function well and communicating that clearly.
For instance, you might have a boundary around your evening time. After 8 p.m., you don't check work emails because you need that time to decompress and recharge.
Or you might have a boundary with a friend who constantly vents their problems but never asks how you're doing. You might limit the time you spend in those one-sided conversations.
Setting boundaries feels uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to it. Your mind will tell you that you're being selfish or mean.
But self-respect means recognizing that your time, your energy, and your mental health are valuable resources that deserve protection.
You can practice with small boundaries first. Maybe you start by saying, I can talk for 10 minutes right now, but then I need to go.
Or, I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm not available to help with that this weekend.
Notice that you're not apologizing excessively or offering elaborate justifications. You're simply stating your limitation clearly and calmly.
Third principle, keep the promises you make to yourself.
This one is so underrated but incredibly powerful. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you're sending yourself the message that you're not important, that your word doesn't matter.
If you keep saying you'll wake up earlier, exercise, learn something new, or work on a project, but you never follow through, your self-respect erodes gradually.
So start with tiny, achievable commitments. Don't promise yourself you'll transform your entire Start with tiny, achievable commitments. Don't promise yourself you'll transform your entire life overnight.
Instead, commit to something small and specific. I will read 1 page of a book today. I will drink a glass of water when I wake up. I will write 3 sentences in my journal.
And then honor that commitment as if it were an appointment with the most important person in your life, because it truly is. When you treat yourself with the same respect you'd give to someone you deeply care about, you begin to understand that your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life.
When you consistently keep these small promises, you build trust with yourself. You start believing that when you say you'll do something, you actually will. This internal trust becomes the foundation for confidence, because you know you can count on yourself to follow through, even when things get difficult or when motivation fades away.
Fourth principle, surround yourself with people who reflect your worth back to you. This is about creating an environment where your value is recognized and celebrated, where you feel safe to be authentic without fear of judgment or constant criticism.
This doesn't mean you only spend time with people who constantly praise you or agree with everything you do. Healthy relationships include constructive feedback and honest conversations. But there's a fundamental difference between someone who challenges you to grow and someone who diminishes your spirit or makes you question your basic worth as a human being.
No, it means being intentional about the relationships you invest in. Choose people who respect your boundaries, who support your growth, who encourage you when you're struggling. Look for friends who celebrate your successes without jealousy and who offer genuine comfort during your failures. These are the people who see your potential even when you can't see it yourself.
People who challenge you to be better, but never make you feel small or worthless. They might point out areas where you could improve, but they do it from a place of love and genuine concern, not from a desire to tear you down or prove their superiority. You should feel energized and motivated after spending time with them, not depleted and insecure.
And sometimes this means creating distance from relationships that consistently drain you or make you question your value. This could be the friend who always turns conversations back to themselves, the family member who criticizes your choices without offering support, or the colleague who takes credit for your work while undermining your confidence.
That can be painful, especially if it's family members or long-term friends. But self-respect sometimes requires difficult choices about who gets access to your time, energy, and emotional space. It's not about cutting people off dramatically or burning bridges, but rather about protecting your peace and preserving your mental health by adjusting the level of intimacy and frequency of contact.
You can still care about someone while recognizing that the relationship isn't healthy for you in its current form. Love doesn't require you to accept poor treatment or sacrifice your well-being. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for both yourself and the other person is to establish clear boundaries or step back until the dynamic changes.
And listeners, you can reflect on this thoughtfully and honestly. Are there relationships in your life that lift you up and make you feel more confident about who you are? Are there relationships that consistently make you feel worse about yourself, where you find yourself questioning your worth or walking on eggshells to avoid conflict?
It's okay to acknowledge that honestly, even if it's uncomfortable. Sometimes we stay in unhealthy relationships out of habit, guilt, or fear of being alone. But recognizing these patterns is the first step towards making positive changes that honor your self-respect.
Now, let's bring this into real-life scenarios so you can see what self-respect actually looks like in action. These examples will help you recognize moments in your own life where you can practice these principles and make choices that reflect your true worth.
Imagine you're at work and your colleague asks you to cover their shift for the third time this month. This person has shown a pattern of relying on your helpfulness without reciprocating or showing genuine appreciation for the inconvenience it causes you.
Version 1, you feel frustrated and resentful, but you say yes anyway, because you don't want them to think you're unhelpful or difficult to work with. You cancel your own plans, perhaps disappointing your family or missing something important to you, and spend the evening angry at yourself for not standing up for your needs and angry at them for asking again.
Version 2, you take a breath, center yourself, and say, I understand you're in a difficult situation, but I'm not available to cover this time. I have commitments I need to honor. You don't over-explain or justify your decision with elaborate reasons, because your time and prior commitments are inherently valuable.
Your colleague might be disappointed, frustrated, or even upset, and that's completely okay. Their disappointment is not your responsibility to fix or manage. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your own commitments, and to maintaining healthy boundaries that protect your time and energy for the things that truly matter to you.
That's self-respect in action, not being cruel, cold, or indifferent to their situation, but being honest about your limits and refusing to sacrifice your well-being to solve someone else's recurring problem.
Here's another scenario that many people can relate to. You're in a conversation and someone makes a comment that feels disrespectful, dismissive, or subtly insulting toward you. Maybe they interrupt you repeatedly, make a joke at your expense, or dismiss your opinion without really listening.
Version 1. You laugh it off awkwardly, pretend it didn't bother you, and internally tell yourself you're being too sensitive. Later, you replay the moment in your mind, feeling hurt, frustrated, and wishing you'd said something to defend yourself or clarify your position.
Version 2, in the moment, you pause, gather your composure, and calmly say, I don't appreciate that comment, or that felt disrespectful to me, or I wasn't finished speaking. Your voice remains steady and confident, not aggressive or defensive, but clear and firm.
You don't need to be aggressive, raise your voice, or start an argument. You're simply naming the boundary that was crossed and communicating that you expect to be treated with basic respect. This teaches others how to interact with you appropriately.
Sometimes the person will immediately apologize and adjust their behavior. Sometimes they'll get defensive, make excuses, or try to minimize what happened. But either way, you've honored yourself by speaking up and refused to silently accept treatment that doesn't align with your worth.
And that builds self-respect over time, layer by layer. You're teaching yourself that your feelings matter, that you deserve to be heard, and that you have the right to expect dignity in your interactions with others. Each time you speak up, it becomes a little easier the next time.
One more scenario that's particularly relevant in professional settings. Let's say you've been working incredibly hard on a project for weeks or months, putting in extra effort and attention to detail, and someone criticizes your work harshly in front of other people or in a way that feels unnecessarily brutal.
Version 1. You immediately internalize the criticism completely, decide you're terrible at what you do, and start doubting everything about your abilities. You spiral into negative self-talk and begin questioning whether you belong in your role or whether you're capable of doing good work at all.
Version 2. You listen to the feedback carefully without collapsing into self-hatred. You consider whether there's genuine truth in the criticism that you can learn from, while also evaluating the delivery and the motivation behind it. You separate the potentially useful information from any unnecessary harshness or personal attacks.
And you also recognize that one person's opinion, even if they're in authority, doesn't define your worth, your competence, or your potential for growth. You can think, this is useful feedback in some areas that I can incorporate moving forward, but it doesn't erase all the value I've created or all the skills I've developed over time.
That's self-respect in the face of criticism, remaining open to growth and learning while not allowing external voices to completely destroy your sense of self or your confidence in your abilities. You maintain your center while still being receptive to constructive input. Now let's address some common obstacles people face when trying to build self-respect, because understanding these challenges can help you navigate them more effectively. These obstacles are normal parts of the growth process, not signs of failure. Obstacle 1. Guilt. When you start respecting yourself more, you might feel guilty, especially if you're used to putting everyone else's needs, comfort, and happiness first. This guilt can feel overwhelming and make you want to abandon your new boundaries. That guilt is actually a sign that you're changing old patterns, which is ultimately good. But your brain interprets change as potential danger, so it sends guilt signals to try to pull you back to familiar behavior, even if that familiar behavior was harmful to your well-being. If you feel guilty for setting a boundary or prioritizing your needs, remind yourself that taking care of yourself doesn't make you selfish or uncaring. It makes you sustainable, healthy, and actually more capable of showing up fully for the people and causes that truly matter to you. You cannot pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes. Respecting yourself and maintaining your emotional, mental, and physical health enables you to show up more fully, consistently, and generously for others when they genuinely need your support. Obstacle 2. Inconsistency. You set a boundary one day and completely abandon it the next when someone pushes back or when you feel pressured to return to old patterns. This can make you feel like you're failing at self-respect. This is completely normal, especially when you're learning these new skills. Self-respect isn't about perfection or never making mistakes. It's about returning to your values again and again, even after you slip, stumble, or temporarily lose your way. If you people-pleased today, even though you didn't want to, you can acknowledge it without shame or harsh self-judgment and choose differently tomorrow. Each moment is a new opportunity to practice self-respect and align your values with your actions. Every moment is a new opportunity to practice self-respect. You're not starting over from scratch when you make a mistake. You're continuing the journey, learning from what happened, and building your capacity to honor yourself more consistently over time. Obstacle 3. Loneliness. Sometimes when you start respecting yourself and maintaining boundaries, certain relationships fall away, and that can feel deeply isolating. You might worry that you'll end up alone if you stop accepting poor treatment. Yes, and that loneliness is real and can be quite painful, but it's often temporary, a transition period, rather than a permanent state. As you hold your boundaries and value yourself consistently, you create space for healthier, more authentic relationships to emerge naturally. And sometimes being temporarily alone is genuinely better than being surrounded by people who don't respect, appreciate, or truly see you. Quality relationships are infinitely more fulfilling than a large quantity of superficial or draining connections. Solitude with self-respect is more peaceful than company without it. When you're alone but at peace with yourself, you can enjoy your own company, pursue your interests, and build a strong foundation for future healthy relationships. Here's our reflection question for you today. What is one specific way you will practice self-respect this week? Think about something concrete and achievable that aligns with the principles we've discussed today.
You can write a simple sentence in the comments below, something like, "This week, I will set a boundary with my phone by not checking it during meals with my family." Or, "This week, I will speak up once when someone interrupts me instead of staying silent."
Or, "This week, I will keep my promise to myself to exercise for 15 minutes 3 times, treating these commitments as seriously as I would appointments with others."
Your comment isn't just writing practice in English. It's a public declaration, a commitment to yourself that makes you more likely to follow through because you've stated your intention clearly.
If this episode resonated with you, taught you something valuable, or helped you in any way, please show your support by tapping the like button and subscribing to our channel for more conversations like this.
Thank you for spending this time with us today and for investing in both your English learning and your personal growth and self-awareness. These skills will serve you in every area of your life.
This is Alex.
And this is Emma.
Keep going, one conscious choice at a time, one boundary at a time, one moment of self-compassion at a time.
Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills while exploring meaningful topics, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep honoring yourself.